Hi, welcome to today's webinar on mastering SMS communication in Limo Anywhere. My name is Brandon Edley. I'm the product marketing director here at Limo Anywhere. I've also had the pleasure of working in product management and software development with LA for 12 years. I'm also a bit of a tech geek, outside of work, and I love to discuss anything related to technology. So if you see me at a show or have any ideas, please feel free to reach out. Today, I'm going to guide you through the ins and outs of SMS communication, a critical tool in our industry. Give me one moment. I'm going to turn off these notifications too, so they don't keep beeping throughout our entire process. So today on our agenda, we're going to cover the importance of SMS communication. We'll also cover features in Limo Anywhere for SMS. If we have some time, we'll do some QA. And I'm also going to go over some of the advanced features that we have. Some of them you may have not seen before. They are some additional add-ons that are that you can get packaged with our software in the future. So I'm going to show some of these things and kind of just talk about the ins and outs of them. So let's go over the first part, which is the critical role of customer communication in the travel industry. Why is customer communication so crucial? You would think that this is like self-explanatory, right? But sometimes, I've seen it over the past 11 and 12 years. You'd be surprised on how many companies I see get this wrong. In and out of our industry, right? And typically, they sometimes pay the price in lost revenue and reputation. So, first impressions matter. They're everything. The moment a customer receives a booking confirmation, the tone is set. So you want to make sure you have a well-crafted prompt message that reassures the customer and opens the door for future engagement. It's like your first chance to get it right or wrong, right? It's the first time you communicate with them. Information sharing, which is you sharing information with your users. Customers in our industry, they value timely and accurate information. So whether it's like their booking status or vehicle arrival or potential delays, something like that, proactive communication is key. You don't want to leave anyone on the curb wondering where their ride is. Safety and trust. So in today's world, trust and safety is a major concern, especially in our industry. So clear communication is going to help you build trust, ensuring that the customers are informed of who their driver is going to be, the vehicle details, estimated arrival times, all that goes a long way in providing a sense of safety and reliability. You want to create a feedback loop, right? So don't underestimate feedback, and we'll get into a lot of this later. But post-ride surveys or even how are we doing during the ride or journey can provide huge, invaluable insights and feedback. It gives you a chance to immediately rectify any issues that could have happened throughout the service. There are upsell and cross-sell opportunities. So, effectively communicating what additional things your users could purchase through a trip could be done. In-car amenities, as an example. You could send those types of messages to a user, or whenever they're in your trip, and a lot of times they will respond back, and you can take action and upsell them. Customer retention. So everyone here knows, I'm pretty sure it's much easier to keep a customer than to find a new one. So effective personalized communication can really transform a first-time customer to a loyal customer. So simple thank you messages, sending special offers, or stuff like that can go a long way in retention. So let's talk about crisis management. So delays, things like that. Delays happen, but if you communicate the setbacks, you can turn frustrated customers into understanding customers. So being upfront about delays and having real-time updates could really mitigate a lot of potential damage. So with your brand image, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen just spam messages to your cell phones from companies that you may not even recognize anymore. So just keep in mind that each message that you send is a reflection of your brand. So having a consistent tone, a consistent style, and even timing can help reinforce your brand image. And we give you some tools in LA to make sure you can do that. So make sure all your communication aligns with your brand's voice, values, and imagery, logos, and whatever you use. Just make sure it's consistent. So I'm going to go into the power of SMS communication specifically, and why you would want to do some sort of SMS communication, and what benefits you get from SMS. That is a text message. What benefits you get from it. So you are going to get high open rates. So compared to email, right? Let's say you send an email out to a customer, and then you send an SMS out to a customer. Your clients, and really this is just a world average, email has an open rate of like 28%, whereas SMS is like 98%. So just sending text messages have a significantly higher open rates, and they tend to not get lost as much in the shuffle. You get immediate delivery and reading. So specifically because of time, right? When you get an SMS, these things are typically a little bit more urgent than receiving email. So in our industry, time is of the essence. So like you get immediate delivery, you typically get an instant read. Some statistics show that 90% of SMS messages are read within the first 3 minutes of being received. So you also get to bypass spam filters. So, everyone probably on this webinar has had an issue with the customer not receiving email. And those issues are a little bit less pronounced when you're dealing with SMS, just due to the technology and how it works. You really don't have to deal with spam filters and things of that nature as much. And phone number stability, which is, people change their email addresses more often than they change their phone numbers, right? And so, dealing with SMS, you typically, don't run across phone numbers that don't work as much as you run across that in email. And let's talk about the click-through rates, which are really like how your customers are engaged. So, SMS will get, like, if there's a link in an SMS, they are clicked on, I think 10% of the time, as opposed to 3.8% of the time of email. So not only are they clicking them and reading them more, but they take action inside of the message more. So the numbers is you send a survey out to 100 people, you'll get on average about 10 surveys back per 100 for SMS, whereas email you'll get between 3 and 4. And the read rates, kind of the last part about this is SMS does have a higher read rate. So it's 42% compared to 32% for email. So they're not just like opening them, they're actually like reading them at a much higher rate. So if you're not already incorporating SMS into your communication strategy, some of these statistics could give you a good reason to start. And like if you're already using it, maybe you could dial it up just a little bit. So we're actually going to dive into some sections of Limo Anywhere that could show you or that can give you some of the opportunities to use SMS. All right, give me one moment here. I'm just going to switch over. So now that we've laid the groundwork on why SMS is such a powerful tool, we're going to go into the scheduled messaging features and kind of show you how you could, harness the power of scheduled messaging, really. So, you will go through how you can set up scheduled messaging for different stages of trips and, different parties, clients, affiliates, and drivers alike. So let's go to messaging and template settings and scheduled messaging. I kind of want to show you this as I'm walking you through the benefits, so you guys can get a clear view of what it does. All right, let's see. Okay, just got to change this around. So scheduled messaging, let's switch to SMS. If you guys didn't see this here, I actually got here by going to my office, messaging and template settings, then over to the scheduled messaging tab. I'm going to configure some SMS, right, the text messages. So that's why I have that selected there. And on the left hand side, you'll see all of my current templates, right? These are the messages that I have set up to go out based on different criteria. So I'm gonna edit the most simple message that you can make. And it's just simply an on the way message, right? So I'll do a quick rundown of just what these fields are. So of course you want to give it a name so you can tell it apart. Do you want to send this type of message for trips or invoices? So you can send invoice related messages for people that have invoices overdue or something like that. We're going to do it on new reservations, not on settled reservations, but on new. And I want this to function only for my in-house. There is a reason why you would want to do farm in and farm out messages, but for now, just to keep it simple, we'll do in-house. For service types, I selected all of them here because I want this type of message to go out on all the service types, but you have to consider for yourself, is there a reason, or maybe you don't want these to go out for a specific service type. So I wouldn't suggest just coming here and selecting everything, because I did kind of think about how your company would be using it. I want this to go to a customer, and the specific customer I want it to go to is the passenger. And I want this message to go out. This is part of the automation features, right? So when the status is changed to on the way, so this is my internal status that I use, it will trigger this message and it'll send out to the passenger's phone number on the reservation. There's other options where you could send it out based on time, and I'll show you some of the examples later after I walk you through this one. So when the status is changed to on the way, and I don't have any other options set here, so you can say, hey, don't send it if the status is canceled. It doesn't make a lot of sense to set this just because it's saying only send it on this one status. So the profile level setting override means that you can go in and into an account and say, don't use this, or use this, or don't use scheduled messaging. And then you can turn it on or off. So these are just little options on how that works. And do you want to disable this message between certain times of the day, right? Like if you don't want it to go out at 2 a.m. but then 6 a.m., you could set the times here. And all I did was set, hi, trip passenger name, your driver is, driver first name is on the way. So imagine if this just had, an actual name here. Hi, Brandon, your trip driver, Charles, is on the way. Because this is a scheduled messaging template, we don't know who the passenger or who the driver is going to be. So that's why you saw these little tags here. So I'm going to back out of it. What these do will pull in the name of the passenger or the name of the driver or any other details that from the tags list or from the reservation, so it can kind of dynamically build it. So when your customer does get this text, it actually isn't going to say this. It's going to replace it with their actual name. Just double check, make sure you guys are good. Okay, so it's going to replace it with their actual name. Now let's talk about some of the tags you have, because you see this trip passenger first name and trip driver first name. There's other tags that you could use that can make this SMS template very powerful. So as you see, I think hopefully you'll be able to see this. See if I can zoom in for you. So there we go. There's company name, everything from company information, the trip pickup time and information, the driver, even links to take them directly to, like if you have the PWA, which is the passenger web app, there's a cool feature in there where they could track the driver as an example, or sign in, create an account. So you can actually use this to get them to use your app, because you're sending them the link in a scheduled automated fashion. So every one of your customers would potentially have a reason to use it. So I'll close this. I just want to kind of show you the entire list of trip tags. Because if you just use a little bit of creativity, you can be you can make some very useful and engaging messages. All right, so let's step out. I think hopefully you get how this is set up and what it's used for. So let's go through a couple different use cases, right? Of reasons why you want to see it. So there's two clients. You would want to send something to a client like a 24 to 48 hour reminder. Not only does this prompt passengers to notify you of any changes, but it also confirms details like pickup times and help to avoid AM PM mix-ups and stuff like that. So it's a proactive customer service, really. And I can edit mine so you can kind of take a look and see what it looks like. I built it here. Some of the same criteria and options set, but notice I set 48. You can go between days, hours, and minutes. So I put 48 hours before pickup time. And what's going to happen 48 hours before pickup time? It's going to say hello, and it's going to be a personal message for them, right? And when it's personalized, it really helps drive it home. And then it says, hey, you ride with company name. It's pulling in your company name for the date and time. And then it gives them confirmation number. It says, hey, if you need any changes, call us at this phone number here. So this is proactive. So it's sending them a message 48 hours. And, let's say that there is an issue, or they've been meaning to cancel, but they haven't been able to. And, now because you've reached out to them 48 hours in advance, they put that cancellation in. You didn't send a driver out. Maybe you got a cancellation fee. All is good with the world, right? So to clients is one good example. To drivers. So, and you don't want to forget the driver. So a text alert can be sent before pickup. So you can minimize the number of wake-up calls or prompt calls your dispatch needs to make. So, I think this will make everyone's life easier. So you could do sort of the same thing for a driver. I went in, I named it driver pre-pickup alert. Who is it for? It's not for my customer anymore. This is the most important part, because you won't be able to get driver options unless you select this. So SMS class is for driver. I'm going to send it to just the driver one 24 hours before pickup time. But this time I'm actually setting this. Do not send if the status is so canceled, right? Why would you want them to get this message if the status was canceled? The message, very friendly. Hey, driver name, you got to pick up tomorrow. This is the passenger info, the name, the vehicle type. You got any issues, call the phone number, right? And so this is, preemptive. Really, like I said, making everyone's life easier. So let's talk about, during the trip. So I think there's a couple of reasons, and even one I mentioned earlier where you're upselling. You can say, hey, don't forget, if you want, if you need A, B, C, and D, just ask the driver and they'll make sure they get that taken care of for you, right? That is upselling, and they're not getting it from the driver, they're getting it from you and your business. Then with affiliates, like during the trip, you can keep your affiliates in the loop. So I think I have an affiliate driver assigned message where SMS class changed to affiliate. Now I can send to the affiliate primary contact, right? So this is, you know, like a farm out as an example, or a farm in, I'm sorry. So you could say, actually, let me make sure this is set right. So whenever you receive a trip from an affiliate and you assign a driver or do something like that, you could send them a text message to kind of keep them updated of what the status is of those trips. And I've seen companies create messages to go to their affiliates, because sometimes they don't want you messaging their customers, so you can create kind of the same way that on the way, arrived, they're circling, they're assigned, all those things, just to keep that communication going with the affiliates. And then after the trip, you could do like surveys via SMS. So like you could capture feedback, and you just kind of ask for feedback. So Limo Anywhere, this scheduled messaging tool doesn't have a built-in way to do surveys. I'm actually going to show you a really cool add-on feature that's actually it's sort of built in to the system, how it works, and it will allow you to capture some of these post-write feedbacks. So you can have, really fast ways to get back to your users and to fix any issues as they arise. So let me show you. This is just a simple Google page review, and I was trying to think outside the box for some of our users that don't have the additional tool. So like you could do a 12-hour after the trip, say thanks for choosing us, share your experience, and then put your Google page link there, and they could leave a review. So it's not as powerful. You're not going to get notified directly from us when they leave a Google page review, but it is something that you could do. And you could also, put any kind of anything that you wanted. If you had a separate survey or anything that you wanted your customers to complete for whatever reason, you could add those things here, and it'll go out to your users. I think I mentioned the PWA one already on the way. Yeah, so I think we're doing good here. So another thing that's coming up is, I think you guys, we may have announced it already, but there is a new tag that we're releasing here for payment request, and we're going to do it in our custom forms section as well. But you'll be able to set up a scheduled message to request a payment from a user as well. So like if there's no credit card on file, or if they booked, or maybe they just did a quote or something like that, now you want to capture that full payment info, you could set it, create a status for it, or however much time before the actual trip, go ahead and send me that. You could send them the payment request link. So that is coming up in the future. I don't have an exact release date for it, but that is a really powerful feature that you'll be able to use. So our next section I want to talk about is some of the more advanced capabilities, messaging add-ons and our messaging modules that we have. So they're much more advanced than what I showed you here, and I would say that they're game changers for how you communicate with your customers. And some of you may have not seen this yet, but I'm actually going to show you in the context of our new dashboard. If you have questions about this, we can kind of talk about it a little bit later. But we have add-ons sort of built into Limo Anywhere now, and a lot of them are coming with, this is something that we haven't gone live with, but everyone on this call, I guess it's a little sneak preview. But in here we have all of the additional add-ons, features, and you can come in and set them up. It's not like a separate login anymore. And there's some very specific ones that are related to messaging. Those are, passenger surveys, the passenger link. There's driver wake up alerts. I think I mentioned that earlier, and driver status. So I'm gonna kind of take you through one by one and show you how you could utilize these to even up your communication game as well. So with the passenger surveys, how to explain this? It's an excellent tool for collecting real-time feedback. So like right after a trip, an automated message triggers like a quick survey that goes straight to the passenger's phone. It's super convenient, and it's very like invaluable data for you. And I could take you through some of the options, but for the most part, just know that whenever actually, I will show you how it looks specifically, because I have a reservation here, and I could sort of walk you through. 10918. So imagine a customer gets this on their phone. Alright, so it looks something like this. They can go through, rate their ride, leave comments, say if they want to be contacted about the ride or not. So, something bad happened. Let's say the driver made a mistake, or they were just unhappy about the overall service. So they could specify that they wanted to be contacted, and they can leave comments and submit the feedback. Once that feedback is submitted, it actually comes to the email addresses that you have here, and so it will notify them, and they can come here and review the completed surveys and kind of see what was going on, the confirmation number, who the driver was, who the vehicle was, and all that. So it is a great way to make sure that you understand, how your customers are using your service, what things they find of value, if there's anything that you need to do or keep doing. Making sure that your chauffeurs are on the up and up, right? That those are the kind of things that you're going to discover with this. And again, it's super convenient because it's fully automated, and it just goes out to the user. So once you set it up, you really don't have to mess around with it again, unless you want to change the questions or something like that. The next one is passenger leak. So you can keep your passengers in the loop about trip details. So imagine they get a message telling them who the driver is, what car they're in, where the car is currently, stuff like that. It's pretty next level, and it works in conjunction with a lot of the driver related messaging features that we have here. So there's a driver status feature where let me show you this. So with the driver status feature, this will allow messages to go out to drivers and even affiliate drivers. And let's say they're not using Driver Anywhere as an example. So how are you getting those status updates? Or if it's going outside of Limo Anywhere and it's on some other external travel software, how would you get your status updates in a decent way? And so this driver status feature really lets the drivers access the status changes, marking their location, stuff like that, without the need to be on the platform exactly. So I should be able to show you how that looks here. And I want to show you the driver one first, because I know I mentioned the passenger one before this, but the driver kind of links into the passenger. So I'm gonna see if I could pull this up to see how it looks. So let's go back to my phone size view again. So yeah, this is what the driver would get. They get a text message. Once they click on the text message, this pops up on their phone and it gives them cool information about the trip. You know, all the relevant information, even signage, flight tracking, all that stuff. Now they can go in and set a status of a trip. So I'll go ahead and set it to arrived. Okay. Now I've set it to arrived here. Whenever the other feature, which is the passenger link, right? So you could set this also to go out, you know, at a time period 60 minutes before the pickup, or send it on a status change, and you could set this to go out to a passenger. So what is that going to look like? I'll show you. And this would be for the same reservation. So I'm just going to generate so we can see how it looks. And this is pretty cool. Talk about invading my privacy. The driver assigned to the trip actually has my profile picture in Limo Anywhere, right? So that's why I pull that up. And this is the car, this is the license plate number, and this is actually my location. Because I set the status in the driver profile or in the driver message, which, like I said, the driver would do. Now when your passenger receives a very similar message, they click on it, they get that last known location of the driver. But then they could also, guess what, I showed you, they could go and do the driver rating from that trip, and then they could also reach out, text, call, do those things as well. So these features are really cool. They're like integrated in together, like how the surveys, driver and the passenger messaging. And the same thing I mentioned, messaging affiliates earlier. And messaging affiliates you would really want to do with this driver status, so you could see, I actually don't have options here turned on to send to my internal drivers. I'm only going to send this to affiliate drivers. Why? Because my internal drivers are using Driver Anywhere, right? So they don't really need that. And I am going to go over one more messaging related feature, and it has to do with driver wake up calls. I almost forgot to go over this with you guys. So, before I heard of add-ons, right before they wrote this, I didn't really know this was a thing, but apparently it's a issue that a lot of operators yourselves deal with in the industry. So for the most part, trips at like 4 a.m., 6 a.m., like those early morning trips where you have to rely on a chauffeur to like be up, get the vehicle, get to, or either go to, the garage, get the vehicle, clean it, all that stuff. Then they got to get to the passenger for the pickup. So these things could be, cause trouble, right? And then you got to stay up, you got to reach out to them manually and do all that. So this really, driver wake ups helps you manage early morning rides, and helps you manage those drivers and making sure that they are awake. So people oversleep, right? So there's smart algorithms here that figure out when a driver should be waking up. So it's looking at distance, the time it takes from them to get from their house to the garage, or even if they own their cars, then it doesn't have to take that stuff into account. And it just, it looks at traffic and ETA calculations and all that stuff, and it gives them a text message in the morning. I've actually set this up online to see how it works. I've been receiving them, every day, just to wake me up in the morning. But it sends them a text, and it'll continue to text them, and they kind of have to respond for everything to be okay. And if they do not respond, then whoever is set to be the authority will be notified. And if they don't respond to the text, then guess what? They'll actually get some phone calls too. So it's a very powerful feature to make sure that you don't miss some of those early morning pickups, and make sure that it's really helping your chauffeurs on with time, because sometimes it can be difficult to understand the time it takes for you to get up, shower, get out the house, get everything cleaned, and handle everything that you need to do before you pick up the passenger. So this is great. Sorry about that. So really, those are, I guess, all the add-ons features I want to cover. They really provide a robust messaging framework that can significantly enhance your communications across the board. So you can see how we kind of have the scheduled messaging built into our core version of LA, and then we have some additional features if you want to take advantage of more advanced automation and more advanced settings, and have a little bit more finer control over how you want things to be automated. So again, let's do I think we should hopefully have some questions, and I would like to do a Q&A session. So bear with me one moment while I get this switched over, and we could do a quick Q&A session. If not, if I was having some issues getting that set up just before I started, if not, then reach out to me directly, Brandon@limoanywhere.com, or shoot a message here on Facebook. I'd love to have a conversation with you about any questions over what I covered, or just anything in general related to Limo Anywhere. So 1 second. Yeah, so it actually looks like we don't, let's see if I could get comments turned on. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to add those in chat now. You all should be able to do some questions, and I'll go over them as much as I can. We haven't had anything come through yet. Oh, someone's told me that there's still an issue with the questions, so maybe I did something wrong. Okay, yeah, it looks like we got something. Okay, yes. I got your questions here. Chrissy Carter asked if SMS, will SMS be in LA when Zip Whip goes away? The question, or the answer to that question is yes, it will be available in LA, and we are making an announcement, but just know that you're more or less going to have a direct replacement, something that's built in, something that you don't need an additional app for or anything like that. It'll just, work. And it's it'll be built into LA. You could use your current number with it. If you already have a number, like I said, you could port that stuff over. But we haven't made an announcement yet, but that's something that we are definitely going to make sure we handle internally for everybody. So you don't have to be concerned. Rest assured that we're not going to leave anyone hanging. We've been hard at work on exactly what we know you guys need. So yeah, Lenny asked about the zip whip shutdown, and that's kind of what I was talking about. So we will have a internal sort of replacement through add-ons, but which will be built in to our software, right? A little bit different than like a separate add-on, right? So it'll be a really tight integration is what I'm looking for. There will be other providers, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be just slightly wrong on this, but I know that with our integration, you may be able to even use other SMS providers with our new integration, even though ZipWhip is shutting down. I don't have any news about other messaging apps. This was from Abraham. Messaging apps like WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, stuff like that. I don't have any current news on that, but I'm curious. Maybe we could talk for a bit and we could go over exactly like what you mean, like what are you looking for with those integrations? Because depending on what you're looking for, that would really help us. And believe it or not, sometimes us making a feature is as simple as letting us know that you were looking for something specific. So Maurice Dean asked a question regarding SMS. The SMS system where our dispatchers send drivers SMS via the dispatch screen is useful, but we cannot adjust the subject of the SMS. It's permanently set to Limo anywhere. Hi. Interesting, right? So I believe that it's because at this point in time, that subject field is actually obsolete, right? Like emails have subjects, but SMSs usually do not, unless you type the subject manually, but it's not like a separate field like a subject would right. It's only one single field that you're going to send on an SMS, right? Edison Perez says, when we'll release the new dashboard, and how about the black? Explain some more about that. So we are going to send more information out about everything that you're kind of looking at here. I don't want to spend too much time going over into the details of the packages, but what you can do is feel free to reach out to support or sales, and they can kind of get you set up, maybe even with some early access. I would highly recommend reaching out to your sales team or to the support team. All right, let's see what other questions we might have here. Text requests can be set up through add-ons. That was a question for Jess. All right, let's see if we have any more here. Tim asks if I'm making a sandwich, do I use mayonnaise or Miracle Whip? I use mayonnaise. I think my wife would leave me if I use Miracle Whip. Is there an easy place to find all the tags for the messages? Yes, Tim, what I'll do is I will show you, let me pull it up here. I was kind of lost myself in all of my tabs, so bear with me. Yeah, so I'll show you where to find it inside of Limo Anywhere. And then I'll also send you an article that describes exactly where they are and where you can get them. So you want to go to messaging and template settings, scheduled messaging, select SMS, and then click this little icon here. It's this little tag icon, and it gives you a list of what the custom tags are and what their description is. Now, what I like to do is copy and paste all this somewhere so I don't have to go back to it again. And then I'll build my messages in like Google Docs or something, you know, use that, and then you can paste it back in there. And I think it works pretty well. And I will send you a article that goes over the custom tags and which ones we have available. Okay. I will post the article in the comment section because it looks like some people may need to know where it is. Thanks, Tim. Cato Murray asks, with the upcoming request payment link tag, will the best approach to be to create a status associated with missing a payment method, or will there be additional messaging criteria added to the system other than status? That is a great question. So there'll be other options, because a lot of the criteria for if you want to send a payment request should be, is there a card on file for that customer? Is there a balance, right? But the big one is, do you have a card on file? Look, guys, the industry is going to in the direction where they don't want you as an operator to mess with any credit cards or even be aware of the number. So this is going to put you guys in a situation to where you're not really going to be aware of data that the customers are entering in. That kind of puts you out of scope of like a lot of certain levels of credit card fraud, right? I mean, I had a customer message the other day that was concerned about some card information, and one of my first questions was like, well, how was it entered in? Because like, if you never touched that card, then like, if it never ran across anyone in your office, it was never written down, you had nothing to do with it, it came in, you just hit charge, you sort of know that there was no there was no way or ability for it to have been intercepted by a bad actor or third party. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Can you use all the tags in any message? Deanna, that's a good question. There is a limitation. There is a limitation on how many characters you could send in a text message, right? And so if I show you, we'll go back here. So I actually think it gives you a count in emails. So basically, it's not gonna hard limit you, but what I think it'll do is start to split. Like if your text messages are too long, yeah, it's 1,024 characters. That's what it is. It's a hard limit. So it's not gonna let you send over that, which is totally normal. A regular text message is about a quarter of that, and so it's just going to send it it'll do the same thing as if you sent a big or long text message. It split it up. But know that only the tags that are I want to mention something about using all the tags here. Yeah, only the tags that are in this section can be used. We have a custom forms section, and custom forms also has tags as well, but those are the only ones that can be used. And you don't want to use routing tags here as well, just because that could it could really extend the length of your text message, and that could cause some delivery issues. So we don't have routing tags available either. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Awesome. So I think that would be most of our questions. Okay, let's see, we got one more. Deanna, I'm gonna show you this real quick. So it's giving you, it's saying there's 1,024 characters. So you could, I don't know, do some copy and pasting and see if that will so it actually gives you a hard cutoff, so you can't make it longer than what it is, to answer your question. Okay, looks like we have a few more questions. So the request payment tag is the IP address from where the car was entered via request payment link captured, so that we can have that information if there's ever a chargeback. That's a good question, Tim. In short, without going into specifics, there's been a lot of talk about chargebacks and everything. Our duty is to make sure that you have everything you need to properly fight a chargeback, and there's some really cool stuff in the works that's gonna really help out with that. The reason I'm just not saying yes, thumbs up, is because I've seen a lot of instances where you may have an IP address, you could still lose a chargeback. And so I don't want to say, okay, it's gonna have an IP address, it's gonna have A, B, C, or D. The features that our team is working on is making sure that the information that is being requested by the card companies, we have available to you when you need to do a chargeback. And if that is IP, then that's what you'll get. I do know that Addons has their they have a feature that's, you'll hear a lot more about, the contract and card capture, and they do capture those things as well. So we will talk about those when they come out. That's a great question, Tim. Thank you. All right. So let's finish up here. So we'll just do a couple closing remarks. Those were some really excellent questions. I hope the answers that we had were helpful to you, and I hope that if you were not using SMS communication, that you have the ability and you really know why you should be using it. Something I should have mentioned earlier, some number of about 25% of our users are doing scheduled messaging, and that 25% is I would like to get that higher, because that's going to help you guys so much, and just increasing how you talk to your customers. So let's summarize what we covered today, and then we'll finish up. So we did a deep dive into the importance of SMS communication, specifically its high engagement rates and the immediate impact. We explored schedule messaging in Limo Anywhere, which allows for like automated communications to go to your customers, drivers, and your affiliates. We also looked at LA add-ons and provided or went over some add-ons that provide advanced messaging capabilities that I believe that we believe will take your communication and your customer communication strategy to the next level. So next steps and additional resources. If you guys want any more knowledge or need further assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. My email directly is brandon@limoanywhere.com. You could reach support at limoanywhere.com. Sales, we have a wonderful support and sales staff that will really spend time to answer your questions and help you go over any of the data that I covered. We also have a wealth of resources, tutorials, and that you can find on limoanywhere.com, like our knowledge-based articles and things like that. We're also going to have these a lot more. So, I'm not going to say I'm going to have these once a week or anything like that, but I'm going to look at your feedback, look at a lot of the questions that you guys are asking, with looking at what we believe are strong features that may not be getting used as much as they should, and we're going to offer these online webinars a little bit more. So I really look forward to talking to you guys in the future. I look forward to seeing whoever is going to show up in Orlando. We are going to have a customer event there where we're going to go over a lot of the things that we've released and that a lot of our new features and stuff like that. So like I said, thank you for your time and thank you for coming. I can't wait to get in front of you guys again. Appreciate it. Bye.